This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. So this is something that I've been talking about for a while, and I feel like I've been screaming into a void and nobody wants to really listen to what I'm saying here. But I think recent events might make people understand why this is something that needs to be listened to. And this is regarding the attitudes around the quarterback and how people have decided to respond to him, even in the media, and how that has created a negative environment for getting accurate coverage on the team. And it's all about the attitudes, laziness, all these things that I'll be talking about all the time. Let's start with a tweet that I put out on October 5th, right? Now, remember, it's October 9th. We're just now getting to this stuff. I talked about this on October 5th. I'll read it word for word. One thing I've noticed with the Watson shoulder discourse, a thread. For a guy who has demonstrated a willingness to play through a ton of injuries in his college and pro football career, Watson is getting shockingly no benefit of the doubt when it comes to the shoulder injury. I'm referring to, obviously, when he missed that game for that shoulder injury, a lot of people jumped immediately to, oh, he could have played. When this is a guy who's demonstrated that if he could have played, he would have played, right? Whatever you think about him personally, that has nothing to do with that aspect of his character. The next tweet in this thread says, not trying to tell you what is wrong with the shoulder, but when it comes to pain tolerance, I think it's silly that so many people are willing to dismiss the laundry list of injuries he's played through and just say the money's changed him. You saw guys, credible guys, like Brett Coleman, tweet this garbage out. Many people who cover the NFL who tweet, oh, the money changed him. He's soft because he got paid. And, look, you have many criticisms of him. I don't think that's one of them. Because I go further on, especially because the physicality of his play style has not changed at all. This is still a guy who willingly takes nasty hit after nasty hit. Hell, it's been my biggest criticism of him in Cleveland, and nothing remotely suggests his willing to take hits have changed. That hasn't. He's taken a lot of nasty hits in Cleveland. So I think that's been proven. He's willing to take these hits and play through pain. He's done it far too much in his career in Cleveland. He injured it trying to truck somebody. I don't know why the assumption is that he's being soft on that. And I'll go to why that assumption is damaging in the long run to get an accurate story in a few minutes here. It's the opposite way. He's too willing, especially since signing the contract, which brings me back to my main point. I'm sure if it were just pain, he would have played. Assuming otherwise makes no sense given the full picture. I mean, like, if this were something that he cannot play through, you're starting to see where the gears are turning. So I continue on to say here, I think in the collective rush to dunk on Deshaun Watson, the lead was buried. The lead is a guy who has played through some of the most painful injuries you can play through. Got sidelined by this shoulder injury that no one can get a good definition of. So what is going on with the shoulder? That's the bigger and more important story. LOL, more important than LOL, Watson got money, now he's soft, but no one really followed that lead. This is why you have to be fair to people you don't like, because it will blind you, right? Everybody got so wrapped up in taking the easy dunk. Oh yeah, he's changed, this, that we got absolutely zero coverage or understanding of what this injury is. Nobody can tell me what kind of shoulder injury. They can only tell me it's something in the shoulder. It's not a labrum. It's not a dislocated shoulder. We don't got any kind of significant diagnosis on this shoulder or public diagnosis. None of that, because nobody has tried to find it, because the assumptions have been lazy. right? The assumptions are, all right, I don't like this guy. I'm going to make the most uncharitable assumption and work off of that. And that's how you get wrong. So now it's Monday and he's not practicing. And now everybody's scrambling to find out what the injury is. Instead of just last week, we were just laughing it off. He's soft now. Okay, he'll play next week. This is serious. I'm sorry. I'm the one that has to ring the alarm bells on this. This is serious. This is now a thing. Whether he bounces back from the thing or not is a question. But this is another thing. He is hurt. He is not hurt. He is injured. My bad. He is injured. He cannot play football with that shoulder. It is obvious to me. This is not somebody who would be sitting out practice, who wants to do any of that, given his prior history and his prior recent history. This is somebody who wants to play. He can't. He's injured. And for whatever reason, nobody is talking about this as if he's injured. And this is not me giving a pass to Deshaun Watson. He's not talking about it as if he's injured when he's clearly injured. The team's not talking about it as if he's injured when he's clearly injured. So the important question to ask here, or the question to figure out, if I'm trying to cover this, right, and if I'm trying to get to the bottom of this, is, are they being secretive about the diagnosis on the shoulder because they're just being weird and secretive? Or are they being secretive about this shoulder because they don't know what's wrong with the shoulder? And I'm going to be honest with you, it looks more like the latter than the former. If this were nerve damage, you'd have a diagnosis. If this were a labrum tear, you would have an immediate diagnosis. If this were a lot of things, a lot of physical breakages, a dislocated shoulder, you would have a diagnosis. Now, the shoulder, the back, and the neck are mysterious parts of the body we still don't really understand, right? There's nerve endings all over the place. And it is very possible that you can injure something, not know it, and then the next day you wake up and it's tight. That's happened to me before, right? It's very serious. It sucks. I mean, like, I remember it was pain. It was one of the most painful experiences of my life, like 3 months straight. I couldn't like squeeze anything with this arm because I had nerve damage there for whatever reason. Didn't even do anything significant to it. And when you look at how this injury happened, there are questions to be asked, because Deshaun got this injury after ramming his shoulder into those guys at the Tennessee game. He finished that game fine. He did the press conference fine. And then he didn't even have ice on his shoulder at the end of that game. He gets to practice a couple days later. He can't throw. Now, again, if we're not being a lazy and assuming that he's just being soft, when that's, again, not the case, then you have to ask yourself, what kind of injuries cause that reaction? There are a lot of shoulder injuries, a lot of neck injuries, a lot of back injuries that cause that kind of delayed reaction where you could be fine for a day, you wake up the next day, and that's when the damage really took place. All signs point to a I don't want to say scary situation, but a lingering situation. I don't think this is an injury that's going to just simply heal itself over a set timetable. When I say that, I mean, if you tear your rotator cuff, or if you pop your shoulder or whatever, or you hurt your labrum, we know that's 4 to 6 weeks, maybe surgery or something along those lines. If you have a high ankle sprain, we know that's 3 to 4 weeks, right? It's not one of these injuries, in my opinion. I'm not a doctor. I'm not trying to diagnose them, but I am saying, like, if we're just reading the tea leaves here, this looks like one of those injuries that's more similar to what Greedy Williams had in training camp in 2019 or 2020, where we just had no timetable all year on when he could return, when he couldn't. Then it looks like an actual normal injury, because there's no reason, if this were a more simple to diagnose injury and simple to timetable injury, why we wouldn't have this out here, why we wouldn't know exactly what the injury is, exactly what the projected timetable is, and exactly when that happened. But this isn't an injury like that. There was no moment where you saw Watson like hold his shoulder a little bit in the game. Like, it was an injury that kind of sustained itself, and those injuries are hard to timetable because those parts that break on your body aren't parts that instantly heal themselves on the same timetable as like your muscles do it, right? And I think something along those lines is happening, and I think they're having a really hard time diagnosing whatever's going on with that shoulder. That shoulder is a big problem right now, I would say. We're going to watch it throughout the week. Hey, if he's able to throw on Wednesday and he's fine, that's cool. But again, let's read the tea leaves on this. And again, when we're not being uncharitable about it and assuming the worst thing, you actually start to see the actual problem, right? The problem isn't that Watson's soft. The problem is that there's something seriously wrong with that shoulder. They don't want to tell us, or they don't know, but there's something wrong. And here's the tea leaves, right? He injures the shoulder during the game, but he doesn't show signs of the injury until Tuesday. Delayed reaction. It's not a good sign, right? That's the first bad sign. Like, no signs of an injury Sunday. Wakes up the next day, signs of an injury. There's only a handful of things that can do that. All those things aren't great, or at least most of those things aren't great. Then you walk further down this line. Okay, he threw on Wednesday, couldn't throw 3 more passes for the rest of the week. Like, showed no progress from Thursday to Sunday at all. More signs point to this not being a normal shoulder injury, right? More signs get pointed to that. We get to Monday, he's not practicing again. He's inside. They're not even showing him. He also, no brace. None of these things that would suggest, oh, there's a bone break, or there's a shoulder tear or something like that. Like, this doesn't seem like it's muscle based. Maybe it's like a trapezius and it's also nerves, but it's not a simple ice it, rest it, heal it, get back in 2 weeks injury. That's how it's been portrayed by Deshaun Watson's camp. That's how it's been portrayed by the Cleveland Browns. And it's how it's largely been portrayed unquestionably, uncritically by some of the media members in the city. And I think that was a wrong assumption. There is something else going on here. Deshaun Watson, who I saw play with all these injuries in college, all these injuries in the NFL, have seen him take the nastiest hits as the Cleveland Browns quarterback. That's not somebody who doesn't play in a game if he can. That's somebody who's going to play through pain, injury, all that. Even if it's not good for the team, he'll do it. Right. And I'm not saying that's like a heroic trait or anything. I think it's kind of dumb when players play through significant pain and know that they can't be themselves. Like, I think that's a real dumb trait and we should stop encouraging it. So I'm not saying like he's benevolent by doing this. I think that this is a serious injury because everything points from his personality. He would not sit out if that was something he could play through. Even a little bit. He would not sit out. The fact that there's all this questions about whether he's medically cleared or not tells me that the team is struggling to diagnose it. And if he can't play, when I know he will play through pain with this injury, and if the team can't diagnose it, you got a problem because we don't even know what it is. How are we going to know what the timetable is? It's been 2 weeks. We don't have a timetable. We don't have an injury diagnosis. We don't have any of this. This isn't simply LOL Deshaun Watson. This is more serious than I think people want to realize. And I don't think it's crazy if it leaks into this week and he doesn't play. It might leak into the rest of the season. This is serious. I hope I'm wrong. I hope by Wednesday I look like an idiot. He plays. We're all good. But I just don't have a great feeling about this. None of the tea leaves seem to be pointed in the right direction, and I thought that I'd share that with you. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Do you think in the rush to dunk on him, we missed the point, right? In the collective rush, that fans to dunk on him, call him soft, whatever it was, that we missed the point. That the point maybe wasn't, oh, Deshaun's faking an injury or Deshaun's not hurt. He's just being soft. He doesn't care. Maybe the lead was, hey, this dude who's played through a ton of injuries can't play because of this shoulder, and we don't know what this shoulder injury is. That might be an issue. Like, that could be a significant problem, because if he's not soft, which we know he's not soft, like he's a bunch of other things, but he's not soft. If he's not soft and that shoulder can't be diagnosed to the point where they feel comfortable giving us anything publicly about it. You see where I'm at? You see where I'm at? Because, hey, look at that. If he was out 3 weeks or 4 weeks because we knew what the pain was, I could be comfortable that he healed from that. I don't know if this is something he's going to heal back from on a reasonable time frame, because they don't know. Something to be mindful of. Maybe they'll give us more news as the week goes on, but right now I don't hear anything that tells me that they're any closer to figuring this out than they were when the bye week started. And it just doesn't seem like they know what they're doing. Well, not that they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what to do, because they don't know what's wrong with the shoulder. They just know something's not right. This is not good. This is not good. But that's my thoughts. I wanted to get that one out there. It was supposed to be in a video with G. Bush, but I messed up the audio, didn't record. But that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night.